The history of a city is made up of its finest citizens, its architects, its senators and governors, its good people. But the history of every city also is made up of gangsters and gamblers and prostitutes. St. Paul was one of the safe cities in America. If you were a bank robber, a kidnapper, an assassin, a mob hitman, there were a couple of cities that you would go to and you knew that the police wouldn't arrest you. Hot Springs, Arkansas, Cicero, Illinois, which is where Al Capone used to hang out, and St. Paul, Minnesota. The fix was in. It was called the O'Connor system, named after the police chief, John O'Connor, at the turn of the century in St. Paul. The deal was, you, Mr. Bank Robber, are welcome to come to St. Paul. When you come to the railroad depot, you have to check in. You would hand a bribe over to the police as a tribute, but you had to promise not to kill or rob or kidnap anyone within the city limits of St. Paul. Now, you could go to Minneapolis and kill whoever you wanted to. You could go to Iowa and rob a bank. But when you came to St. Paul, you had to be on your best behavior. Well, every major criminal in America came to St. Paul. John Dillinger, the Barker Boys, Alvin Creepy Karpis, Bugsy Siegel, Machine Gun Kelly. So you would ask, where do they stay? When you read the FBI files, you'll see the FBI has a tip that they are staying on Summit Avenue at the corner of Summit and Dale. And you can still go to Summit and Dale and see this breathtaking apartment building, which is where two of the most notorious train robbers in America brought their girlfriends. The underworld, Ma Barker, Alvin Creepy Karpis, all those gangsters, and the overworld, the good people of St. Paul, the society people, perhaps your grandparents and great-grandparents in the 20s, they weren't separated. It was not unusual in the 1920s and 1930s in St. Paul to go to a restaurant and see Babyface Nelson, one of the most notorious machine gunners in America, eating at the next table with his gun mole, Helen Gillis. And your reaction was like seeing O.J. Simpson. You knew he was a bad guy, but it was like a celebrity. It was, oh my goodness, I'm gonna tell all my friends that I had steak tonight with Babyface Nelson. The good people figured, this is great for us. We get to eat at the gangsters' restaurants, drink their liquor, gamble, and they won't touch us. But it took a while for the police to get cleaned up in St. Paul. Ultimately, most of the corrupt cops were removed from the force.